a town surrounded by whispers. Whispers of people who vanished. Whispers of creatures stalking the woods. No one of the town dared enter the dense forest at night, and most never went at all, lest they be becoming one of the whispers themselves. The warnings didn't stop Victor. A seasoned hunter had grown tired of small-town tales meant to frighten children. He was new to Deadwoodfalls, and the stories intrigued rather than frightening him. The people spoke of something called a Wendigo, a beast born from hunger and greed of man. A monster that lurked deep in the forest, hungry for those who dared venture into its domain. One cold autumn evening, Victor decided to test the legend. He took his rifle, flashlight, and a sense of confidence. He would hunt the beast everyone feared, and he would prove there was nothing but myth to the whispers of Deadwoodfalls. The sun dipped below the horizon as Victor entered the forest. The woods were quiet, unnervingly quiet. The crunch of leaves beneath his boots echoed loudly, each step seeming to grow heavier with the impending dark. He was used to the silence of the woods during a hunt, but tonight was different. There were no crickets, no rustling of creatures, only his own breath and the soft wind slipping between the branches. Victor pressed on, refusing to let fear take hold. His flashlight's beam cut through the dark, revealing the gnarled trunks of ancient trees. The deeper he went, the colder it grew. He shivered as a breeze whistled past, biting through his thick jacket. A strange smell reached his nose, something rancid, like rotting meat. He wrinkled his nose, shaking off the unease creeping up his spine. Hours passed, the darkness swallowing the forest whole. Victor had no signs of life, no tracks, no movement. It was as if the forest had died, leaving him to wander in its hollow shell. He stopped to rest against a large oak, frustration bubbling beneath his calm exterior. It was then, as he caught his breath, that he heard it. A faint sound, almost a whisper, coming from deeper within the woods. He straightened to listen, his heart pounding. The whispering grew louder, distinct, like voices carrying on the wind. Voices calling his name. Victor's grip tightened on his rifle, a chill running through him that had nothing to do with the cold. Suddenly, the voices stopped, replacing by a snap of a branch. Victor spun, raising his flashlight, the beam flickering slightly. In its light, he saw something move, a dark shape whipping between the trees, too fast for him to make out. "Who's there?" he called, his voice sounding too small in the vastness of the forest. Silence. Victor's eyes darted around, searching, but there was nothing, just shadows and the swaying branches. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to take a step forward. He had to come here to prove the townspeople wrong, to show that there was no Wendigo, no monster. But something was out there, something that watched from the dark. Another snap, this time closer. Victor turned sharply, and for the briefest moment he saw it. A tall, skeletal figure, its eyes reflecting the light of an unnatural glow. It moved like a shadow, slipping behind a tree before he could get a better look. Panic surged in his chest. He wasn't alone. He was being hunted. Victor began to walk, each step quicker than the last, until he was almost running, his flashlight beam bouncing erratically. The voices had returned, now clearer, louder. They echoed all around him, overlapping, in a cacophony that made his head spin. He turned again, catching a glimpse of the creature, its limbs unnaturally long, its skin stretched taut over its protruding bones. Its face was almost human, but twisted, gaunt, and hollow. Victor's breath caught in his throat, his stomach lurking at the sight. It wasn't a myth, it was real. Victor broke into a full sprint, his heart hammering, the flashlight slipping from his grasp as he ran blindly through the forest. The voices followed, growing louder, more insistent, drowning out the sound of his own panicked breaths. The wind howled through the trees, and over it you could hear the creature's footsteps, slow, deliberate, as if it knew there was no rush. It was inevitable. He stumbled, falling hard to the ground, the breath knocked from his lungs. He scrambled to get up, but it was too late. The Wendigo was there, standing over him, its hollow eyes staring down with an insatiable hunger. It opened its mouth, and a sound like 1,000 voices escaping at once filled the air. A horrible, keening wail that shook Victor to his core. The last thing Victor saw was the creature's gaping maw, rows of sharp, yellow teeth, before darkness consumed him. The following morning, the people of Deadwoodfalls spoke of a wail heard from deep within the forest, a sound that chilled them even in their warm beds. No one dared enter the woods to see what happened. They knew. The Wendigo had claimed another soul, another fool who thought they could challenge the hunger of the forest. And deep in the woods, beneath the towering trees, the Wendigo waited, its hunger momentarily sated, but never for long. It knew more would come, more souls to feed the endless void inside. And Deadwoodfalls would whisper of Victor, just another story to warn those who might forget the forest that lived in the woods. Another one bit the dust. But it matters not. The more you'll notice.